Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and react to Luke Stevens talk about the Black Flag remake leak. Again? Apparently this was leaked before. I'm just now hearing about this. I was just discussing here. I'm live here on Twitch and YouTube, but I was just discussing that it kind of got to me the day prior to when I'm streaming this, recording this. That there was a Black Flag remake coming. I'm like, I didn't think much of it. I was like, that's weird. I think they were even mentioning that they're removing the modern day stuff. But and then I hear it again from another content creator. I don't know. It was a news article. I remember now. So I saw a news article about it. I was like, I don't know. I didn't think too much about it. Then I see a content creator earlier talking about it, and I'm like, is this real? This is real, right? And then I look up and I find this. Wow. I find this Luke Stevens video. I'm like, okay, now I know what's happening. If Luke Stevens is talking about it, this is legit. At least a legit rumor, if anything. But Black Flag is my favorite game next to Assassin's Creed 2. So we're gonna go ahead and react to this video. I will have a link to Luke Stevens' video. I'll post it in the chats as well. And while you're down there, because this is recording for a future video, while you're down there, go ahead and like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I will be drawing, working on a collab art piece. Hey guys, Ace here. I'm here to talk to you about our sponsor, W. What does W ask? I'll go ahead and tell you. W is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like other energy drinks. W contains amino acids, vitamins, a non-tropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Best of all, it's zero sugar, no hidden ingredients, and gluten-free. W sells all different types of flavors, including Tiger's Blood, Japanese soda, Push and Punch, and s'mores. You can also head over to their website and check out their merch and shakers. Also, W is currently doing a collab with Soul Leveling. I personally got the Ingress bottle because Ingress is awesome. But there's other bottles as well, as 2 different flavors. So what are you waiting for? Use my 10% off code and get your tubs today. Thanks again to W for sponsoring. Let's get back to the video. Or the stream. Wherever this is playing. So let's go ahead and just get into it.
I, like many of you, am a big fan of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. In fact, I actually have the collector's edition from Asia circa 2013 in the studio behind.
Yeah, I don't have that. I just have this. I wasn't able to afford like collector's editions or anything for this, but this is the GameStop edition. So this is somewhat of an exclusive copy. This is the copy that I bought when this came out. So when was this? Was this 2013? Like he said? I can't find the date. Yeah, 2013. So, yeah.
Behind me at all times. I love Black Flag. It is, in my opinion, one of the best open world games of that era, and I love it dearly. So naturally, I've been pretty excited for the remake that's been rumored and speculated upon for, at this point, like a year and a half. And we...
Okay, I didn't know that. I was always like... Something that I wanted. I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they made like a remake of Black Flag. If any one of them deserves a remake, it's either 2 or Black Flag. I think even Rogue too. Rogue would be cool.
Just got a big info dump about it. The info comes from Jeux Vidéo Magazine, which is a French outlet, and they've put together a bunch of reporting and some sources that they've gotten access to and put it all together into a video that is in French. So I have translated the transcript, and we're going to talk about that translation. But long story short, just to catch you up, the Black Flag remake has been in the works for a while and is being headed up by Ubisoft Singapore, the same team that helped with all of the water physics and simulation stuff for Black Flag back in 2014, and even with the water simulation stuff for Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, and eventually Valhalla and Shadows.
That's good that they brought in that team. Like, they originally worked on it, why not bring them back in, you know? Hopefully it's at least some of the... Hopefully it's not, like, just the team, and then, like, the team was replaced by a bunch of people, and so it's, like, it is the team, but it's not the original team. Hopefully it's the actual original team, or at least some of the original team with some new people. That'd be cool, too. But, yeah, I mean, that's a W, I say.
They've primarily been a support studio, but they did get the chance to do one standalone game recently, Skull and Bones. And I'm sure we all remember how that went. But after Skull and Bones,
Oh,
they were
God,
given the
no.
opportunity to use a lot of their recent pirate experience to remake Black Flag, which honestly, I think it makes sense. If you know you're going to remake a
make
pirate
sense.
game and you have a team that just built a bunch of pirate assets and stuff for their pirate game, reuse those assets, and then you don't have to redo all of it from scratch, and you get to save money, and at least Skull and Bones isn't like a total waste. So it makes
Yes.
sense why they would assign them to do this project. And over the last year and a half or so, we have heard many rumblings, rumors, and speculations as to what this Black Flag remake is going to look like. But up until just a few hours ago, it was all speculation. But now, Jeux Video Magazine is actually coming out with some very specific claims as it pertains to the Black Flag remake. Some of it I think is really good news, really exciting news. Other information, maybe a little less, but I'm gonna go through it all with you here today. I've translated the video, highlighted all of that stuff. I'll have the original video sourced in the description box. If you happen to speak French, you can go check it out yourself. But we're gonna talk about it. As always though, take all of this with a grain of salt, because ultimately we are talking about somebody reporting sources that they have, and I haven't spoken to those sources, so we don't know for sure if this is likely or not likely. These guys have previously accurately reported on Ubisoft before. They likely have a contact within Ubisoft corporate that is giving them information, but as always, take it with a grain of salt. The first thing he described was how they are currently targeting early 2026 for the release date, but they're not sure if that will slip or not because they allegedly have a lot of work still to do. This coincides with other information we've gotten from like earnings calls and stuff where Ubisoft CEO is like, yeah, there's a big exciting project that old fans of our franchises will love, but we've not announced it, and they've kept it very, very quiet. And I think the original plan was to like shadow drop it this fall, but after AC Shadows got delayed by 4 months or so, everything else scooted back, and as a result the Black Flag remake also got scooted out of.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see that. Because I'm pretty sure that the team probably... AC Shadows was, during development, was a mess. It was such a drama, mess. Dramatic mess, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There was so much drama leading up to its release, to the point where they had to push it back. And so I'm pretty sure like when they got around to like pushing it back to fix a lot of the things that needed to get fixed, I'm pretty sure it was all hands on deck, and they probably had other teams stop what they were working on to go help with Shadows, to make sure it released on time and with very little bugs, so very little issues. So that's probably what happened, and so that would then kind of push back any other projects
Of the holiday window, and is now in like maybe February, March-ish is kind of where they're looking at. So this initial description of timelines is accurate to what we've heard elsewhere, specifically reported by Tom Henderson with Insider Gaming. I personally don't think it's that likely that they delay it to like late 2026, because AC Hexe is supposed to be launching in late 2026, like maybe September, October of next year, and that's going to be a huge deal. It's the latest game from the Montreal team who did Valhalla and also originally did like Origins and Black Flag.
Is it though? Is it?
And they are apparently working on like a linear, think of like a Sony narrative driven game, like a linear third person adventure game set during like the German witch trials, and it's going to be like horror
German
inspired.
witch trials.
It's going to be very, very different from anything else we've ever gotten with AC before, and I'm excited for it. And they've spent a lot of money on it, so I don't think that they would just push that back because Black Flag needed more time. I think it's more likely they'd bring on more teams to help with Black Flag remake to get it out the door in March, but we'll see. It's also, I mean, elephant in the room, GTA 6 launches in May. It's possible GTA 6 gets delayed into the fall. that would throw everything up in the
It
air.
would.
So who knows? Maybe they do that and then they delay Hexe to the spring just to get away from GTA 6. Who knows? But time will tell. But then we get into the nitty-gritty details, specifically of what they are changing. I made a video back in early July where I was actually on vacation on a boat on a lake, and I filmed the video on the lake discussing the Black Flag remake drama and speculation.
Yeah, I
and
just did
rumors
this
at
went.
the time because I thought it was.
I didn't hear
appropriate being
any
on a boat
about
talking
any of
about a
this.
game with boats. So
I'm
if you wanna
usually
hear
pretty
all
on
of the
top
rumors and
of gaming
speculation,
news.
you can check that video out for sure. I will have it linked below as well. But one of the biggest questions we had was whether they were going to change the combat system. If you don't recall or never played it, Black Flag had a very interesting combat system for the time. It was called a paired animation combat system, which basically just means that if you engage in an attack against an opponent, they have an animation that matches your attack that plays out almost like a dance once those two inputs are connected. The enemies can block, they can try to dodge away from you, they can parry you or whatever else they need to do. But when the two states of the opponent and the player character match, an animation plays out, dealing damage in a really elaborate, crazy finisher move. And this is the system they used all the way up through 2015 with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. They moved away from it in 2017 with Assassin's Creed Origins, where they moved to like a hitbox based combat system, which is much more commonplace nowadays.
Origin was like
it just makes more sense. People just generally
they just went with a whole new system.
Whether they were going to keep that original combat system or if they were going to rework it or maybe just add in the same combat system they used for Shadows and Valhalla. What he said was there will be RPG type mechanics in the Black Flag remake, more particularly regarding the inventory system and notably regarding the loot system. I was told that
of course they're going to put RPG elements because that's what they love putting RPG elements in
similar
Assassin's
in any
Creed
case
games.
to the RPG type Assassin's Creed games that have come out, like the Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and now Shadows.
I'm not a fan of the RPG system in Assassin's Creed. The newer ones, I guess it's okay in Shadows because I was playing through Shadows. I didn't like beat or anything because I really didn't feel like dropping all that money on a game. So I was just playing. I got the Ubisoft subscription just to play for like a month. I was like, I'm gonna play as much as I can in that month, and then I'm canceling. Like I'm not playing anymore after that. And I didn't get super far. I will say that because that's the other problem I have with the new Assassin. If they are trying to make Black Flag play more like the newer games, I'm probably gonna hate it. I'll just be honest. I think they need to not touch it. They need to just use the old system. Leave it the way it is. It's perfectly fine the way it is. Don't touch it. Ubisoft. But knowing them, they probably will touch it. They probably make a bunch of changes, and I'm probably going to be like, no, let's go back to the original. The original's better.
Will it be exactly the same system used in those games? No, it will be a little bit less, a bit more similar to Mirage and so on. But anyway, there's also something that remains to be seen and established. Will it be the same system? Will it be a bit less, a bit similar to Mirage and so on? It's not super clear, but effectively he's saying that they've shifted away from the really simplistic style of inventory that they had in Black Flag originally, and they've moved more towards a familiar open world inventory system that's more akin to like Shadows, Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins. I'll talk about whether I like this or not in just a second, but first I want to read the rest of this. He continues, the combat system itself, I come back a bit also to the RPG aspect, has undergone some modifications too to correspond a bit more to the style of the latest opus. I wasn't told if the entire choreographed combat part was removed. However, what I was told is that it's a combat system that approaches more the RPG opus or the RPG games of recent memory. So that means perhaps less choreography in the combats. That for one is a bit unfortunate unless Ubisoft has come back a bit on the subject, but from what I was told, it is indeed a combat system that's more RPG typed, and that's what also makes total sense with the other information I told you earlier regarding the inventory system, loot system, with also the statistics of weapons and so on, and also regarding equipment. Basically, it just seems like instead of having the really, really simplistic loadouts where you equip like a different sword or different guns or things, they've reworked it so it will play much more similarly to recent Assassin's Creed games. Some people will love this, and I've seen on social media, because a lot of you guys were tagging me in this saying, Luke, talk about the new leaks for Black Flag. A lot of you guys were really excited about this and really glad that they're not doing the same combat system, allegedly, that they used back in 2013, because it feels like a combat system from 2013. Other people, like myself, grew up playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and so for us, this combat system holds a special place in our heart.
Yes. Yes.
And while it is clunky, it's familiar, and it's also something that is kind of cozy.
It's fine. We mean clunky. It's fine. I won't hear that. It's not that old. It's only...
So while I won't say that I'm like upset or bummed about this, I will say that I'm like, okay, let's see how it goes. You know, I'm open to it. I would have been okay with the old school system because I was so familiar with it, but I totally get that a lot of people hated that system, which is why they changed it. So I'll keep an open mind, but it seems based on this reporting, they've changed it. It will not play the same way as the old games. This part is also really interesting. Take note, Todd. Technology having evolved, of course, since 2013, Ubisoft has planned to remove, of course, the loading times to access a city on land from a naval port or vice versa. That has been removed to facilitate exploration. That seems totally logical to me in reality, given that it's something that's already possible. For example, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you can literally arrive in Athens without loading. So it's a tech that already works very, very well. The goal is to do exactly the same with Havana, Kingston, and so on. And this was something I did not honestly think that they would do. And if this ends up being true, I will honestly be impressed, because I was braced for it to just be a pretty straightforward remake. Maybe they swap out some assets, they improve some stuff, but maybe it feels more like a remaster. But it really seems like they took the engine for AC Shadows, which is very powerful and very impressive, and then they just are moving all this stuff from Black Flag into it, and they're cutting away all of the like antiquated tech of 2013. So no more load screens to get on your ship into the free open waters. You can just sail right up to the dock, hop off and explore Kingston, and vice versa. You can just jump straight on the boat and sail away. That sounds awesome. But it doesn't just stop there, because they apparently have also made enhancements across the map. He says, I also wanted to come back to the map notably. So I was told there's no enlarged size, giggity, regarding the map. So that for one is something I can technically tell you. So they've not added like an entire new area of the map. They're not adding new islands and everything, but what they are doing is reworking it, because not content with removing loading times to have exploration that's more fluid on paper, Ubisoft has also worked on filling the islands on the map, having islands with much more activity and so on, to bring more missions, of course, because it's true that Black Flag's map, technically, you have Cuba and all that, you have small islands with 2 to 3 chests to go get, but it's true that there's less content on those small islands, and some are totally useless. In fact, many of the islands in Black Flag are just like paper mache. You just look at them. You can't actually get off your boat and look at them or explore them. They're just there to appear as islands that fill out the map, but the actual areas that you can explore are much, much fewer. It seems like with this remake, they're trying to change that, and they're trying to actually make just the Caribbean and expand it and fill it out so that it's much more interesting to explore, which again, I didn't think they'd actually do that. This is way more than I was expecting, so this is pretty cool. And he continues, Ubisoft has well planned to add content on these islands to make exploration much more interesting. Knowing Ubisoft, these are probably basic collectathon things, maybe hunting challenges and stuff like that, additional mini side quests, but I wouldn't expect anything super crazy. But nonetheless, it's more, it's expanding the original vision of Black Flag, and I'm intrigued by that. I'm interested. He then speaks specifically about the engine and what it is capable of and not capable of. He said, and I also wanted to end with two small informations, notably including one that I already told you about earlier. The Black Flag remake is not planned to be a production that approaches in terms of grandeur of remake. It's not planned to be a style of Resident Evil or Silent Hills remake, meaning we don't have at the level of those remakes on the technical plan and so on. The translation here is a little clunky. I think basically what he's trying to say is that this is not being treated as a remake on the scale of Resident Evil 2 remake, for example, or the Silent Hill remake. In practical terms, I don't really know what that means. I think what it means is that they are not going to like totally rework the campaign or missions and stuff. They're not going to rework all of that stuff.
Like the first Assassin's Creed?
Instead, what they're doing, as he describes it,
I like the first Assassin's Creed at first until the newer ones came out. And then when I go back and play Assassin's Creed 1, I have a hard time because it just... That system is clunky. That game is clunky. At this point, like, the only thing I love about Assassin's Creed is just, like, the story and everything. But it's hard to go back and play. It's kind of like it's the same thing with me when I go back and play like Resident Evil, original Resident Evils, or like because the tank controls. Same thing with like Devil May Cry. And I want to play through Devil May Cry because I have never really given them a chance. Other than like, I didn't really know Devil May Cry was a real thing until like Devil May Cry 4 was coming out, and I was like at that point I was more of an Xbox person, so I didn't really have an opportunity to play it. And I've been sitting on wanting to play Devil May Cry for a long time. The only one I played through completely was DMC, the 2017 one. But yeah, when I go back and play like the older 3D games, like I have a hard time playing them because how clunky the system is, how the clunky the controls are. And Assassin's Creed is definitely one of them. So I have a hard time playing that one. I'll play like Assassin's Creed 2 though. Assassin's Creed 2 is great. I love that they improved everything in Assassin's Creed 2.
It's really a reinterpretation of Black Flag updated to modern tastes, which ultimately I think is the goal of a remake / remaster. It's to take a game that is older, that has an audience of people that love it dearly for nostalgic reasons and because they just played it years and years and years ago. But you want to bring that game into a new generation and introduce it to people who have never experienced it, who would not play the old version because of clunkiness or controls not working properly or technical issues and stuff like that. You're basically bringing it forward so a new generation of players can enjoy it. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're just trying to bring the wheel into a new situation where it can function. You know, but that's not to say that they aren't making major changes or adjustments. It's suggested that they're actually going to be adding back in some of the original cut content, such as the quest lines tied to Mary Reed. Those were removed back in 2013 for the original launch of the game, but they will be added back in here. I had actually forgotten about this, but the character James the Kid, which eventually is revealed to be Mary Reed, there were originally like additional quests and story beats and things tied to the character that were just cut for developmental reasons or whatever. And they've actually preserved some of that allegedly and are bringing it back. So there will be additional story content that adds to it, which is cool. I will say though, I'm so ready for people who never played Black Flag to see this and be like, wait, what the hell? It's a woman dressed as a man? Buckle up, dude. There's gonna be some stupid videos made by people who have no clue what they're talking
buckaroo.
about. I am so ready for it. It's gonna
I'm waiting to hear what he has to say about everything.
Be funny. Anyway, they also say a couple of other interesting tidbits, such as this.
All this is.
Apparently, they intend to include a few, maybe as many as four additional hours of like piratey content in the early stages of the game. And that is apparently because they plan on removing the present day parts in the remake because they considered it to be too uninteresting, perhaps too much and overwhelming just in terms of like the narrative dump that happens in the opening sections of Black Flag, or perhaps because it just kills the pacing and the vibe of the game. People want to play a Black Flag remake. They want to be a pirate. They want to sail the Caribbean seas. And it's really jarring to get pulled out of that to go walk around what was basically a Ubisoft office circa 2014, which frankly, I can understand it. I appreciate the present day, modern day sequences in Black Flag for what they were narratively at the time, but man, it does kill the pacing. And I'll be real, this is something that I think is totally understandable. The modern day sequences have always been pretty polarizing for Assassin's Creed fans because there's basically two big groups of us. There's those of us who love Assassin's Creed primarily for exploring historical locations, cities that no longer exist, speaking to historical figures that are long since passed. Granted, in this historical fiction story, but still nonetheless, it's really cool to explore these pieces of history in an interactive way. And there's other players who are really into the lore, the Isu storylines, First Civilization storylines, the present day stuff with Desmond. All of that I totally get, and I think all Assassin's Creed players like bits and pieces of everything, but the primary focus can be different based on your tastes. For me, I love the historical stuff. When I see Assassin's Creed Origins, I'm excited to play as Bayek exploring the pyramids, not as Layla walking around a tomb complaining about how humid it is. Like I want to explore pyramids. That's why, I mean, I have a pyramid in my studio. I want to explore the pyramids. Same with Black Flag Remake. I want to be a pirate. That's why I'm excited about the game. That's why I bought it. And I think in the 2010s, Ubisoft was trying to figure out what balance they needed to strike between the present day modern storylines, the Isu storylines and stuff like that, and the deeper focus on gameplay and the historical side of the games. And I think Black Flag, for all of its strengths, its primary weakness for me were the really slow and sluggish modern day sequences that, again, in my opinion, just killed the pacing. But again, this is one of those that's just going to come down to personal preference. Whether you like it or not is up to you, and that's your decision. For me, everything that we've heard in this video and that we've discussed, I find intriguing. Some of the changes I really like. The idea that you're completely removing load screens, that is awesome. The idea that you're gonna add stuff on those islands that previously had very little or nothing, that's awesome. It gives me more reason to explore as a pirate. I like that. Hearing that they're using the Assassin's Creed Shadows engine, which is a powerhouse of an engine, that is also really exciting. It means that this game is going to be graphically pretty stunning, I would expect. But there are a couple of other things where I'm just not sure what I think of it until I see it or get my hands on it myself. The combat system being swapped out, I'm an old school fan. I'm an old school fan. You know, I grew up playing these games, so that combat system just has a special place in my heart. As clunky and unintuitive and frustrating as it could be, I grew up playing it, so I'm nostalgic for it. But I totally understand why they would want to change it for something that everybody else agrees is just objectively better. So I will keep an open mind when it comes to the combat system. I will not be judgy about it. I will wait till I see it for myself. And as for the inventory changes,
I'm gonna be
adding
judgy.
RPG elements, that I think is a necessary change once you've decided to change the combat system as well. Like, you can't go and change the combat system without changing how the weapons you have equipped work, how the stats work. Like, everything has to kind of get updated once you decide you're changing the combat system. So I will also withhold judgment on that until I see it for myself. I'm interested, I'm intrigued by all of this, and I think, if anything, after reading this and hearing more about it, I'm probably more excited for the Black Flag remake than I was before, because I was kind of braced for it to be just like the lowest possible effort, and it was just going to be like, we swapped out some of the models for Skull and Bones models we had laying around, and now give us $70, please. But I don't think that's actually what's happening here. It sounds like they actually just straight up rebuilt the entire game across the board, which is crazy. So I will keep an eye on this. It sounds like the current plan is like maybe March of next year. And if that's the case, we could see like a big reveal maybe at the Game Awards or something like that. Or maybe they just pull like an Oblivion remaster and they just shadow drop it. I've said for months that I think that that's the best idea. That would be like the coolest way of revealing this game and putting it out there for everybody, but time will tell. But let me know what you think of all of this in the comment section below. I honestly want to know your thoughts. Do you like some of these changes? Do you think these will make the game better? Or are you going to stick to being a purist and only play the old version? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Also, if you haven't already, join our giveaway for the PS5 Pro. It's linked in the link tree in the description box below, or you can scan the QR code on screen. Once you go there, you just click PS5 Pro giveaway September 25. And once you're there, you just put your name, email address in. Of course, check the rules to make sure you understand everything. And if you want additional entries in the giveaway to increase your odds of winning, you can complete additional tasks like following me on my other channels, following me on TikTok, X, etc. Just my way of saying thank you for making my dreams come true. We are going to do the drawing in 2 weeks from now, so get your booty over there, enter, and then you can forget about it and you'll get an email if you win. Why not? It's a free PS5 Pro. Why not? But with all that said, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. You make my dreams a reality every single day, and never, ever think I take it for granted. How else would I buy Concord t-shirts? It's because of you. Because of you, fam.
How the fuck did you get those Concord
Until next time, my
t-shirts?
friends. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.
Bye, Steven. All right. All right. Okay. Well. Okay. I think I know what my problem is. I'm sitting here like I've been contemplating it being. That's why I was quiet. I was like contemplating this. So I think what they're doing, I think what they're doing, is that they are doing an actual remake. Meaning that they're not going to take the game and improve it, and they're not going to take the original game and improve it with the graphics and do some quality of life. They're literally just remaking it as if they're remaking Black Flag as if they remade it today. Mostly. And I mean, sure, I think what it is I need to. That's not what I want, but if this is true and this is what they're doing, then I need to get myself out of the mindset of this isn't 2013, 2014 Black Flag. This is 2026, 2027 Black Flag, whatever it's going to be. And in that sense, if I hear it, I mean, the removing of the modern day stuff, I will say that at first I was like, oh, it's bullshit. But then I thought, I was thinking about it more. I was like, well, I think the one reason why I think that way is because that, like, I actually am one of the people that loved for the most part, the modern day story, the modern day stuff. Only because it had a really good start. Like it was going so well, and then it just crashed. Towards the end, like leading up into like Assassin's Creed 3 is when the story went, and then like they tried to like save it in a way after sorry, spoiler if those that don't know. Spoiler alert one more time, and once Desmond died at the end of 3, that they tried to continue the story, but you can tell that they were kind of starting to just shift away from that. And it seems like there is still somewhat of a real life story going on. At least in Shadows, there was definitely something going on whenever you were in like the animus parts, like the unloaded butter people. Who did that? Oh, Boomin. What's going on, Boomin? So yeah, there's definitely seemed like there's something going on. Well, because I was playing Shadows and like it got to like an unloaded part of the animus, and like somebody was like talking to me, like somebody that wasn't in Japan. It was in like the animus, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't me this time. Lurking, grabbing a bite to eat. Oh, thank you. What you eating? What's on the menu? Go ahead and give Boom Banana a follow. I'm gonna give you a shout him out. 1 second. Why? Hold on. Oops. Okay, that's what I did. Someone I can follow? Yes. Makes me you kind. Of course, man. Of course. I don't know why you're not on my auto shoutouts, but that's fine. What was I saying? So yeah, I just need to like get in the mindset of this is an actual remake. However, the thing that I feel like this might not do as good as these other kind of like video games being as remastered remakes. I feel like they should have gone the route of Metal Gear Delta. Metal Gear Solid Delta. Metal Gear Solid Delta, I played all the way through. It was great. Honestly, all they did was remake all the assets. And they took the original game and combined it. Basically took the original game and brought it into Unreal 5. Redid all the assets. That's all they did. It was perfect. Perfect. Down to the last minute detail. So yeah, I think that's kind of like what I would want. I would want them just to do the kind of the same thing. Just take the original game, improve all the graphics. You're good to go. Redo the models. Maybe put it in the same engine, but then change the combat to be more like the original combat. But what do I know? I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you is this something that you wanted? Do you want them to kind of just remake it, or do you want more of a remaster? More like what I want. Let me know in the comments below. Go ahead and follow. Luke Stevens. Here's his name. I'll have a link to his video down below. Definitely check him out. Way down there again. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that awesome stuff. And yeah.